A cold dread gripped my soul the moment Emily's fork clattered onto the dinner table. "Michael," she began, her voice a chilling pronouncement that struck me like a physical blow. "I don't know how to say this, but I don't think I want to be intimate with you anymore." My world, a fortress built on years of shared dreams and an unshakable belief in our unique bond, crumbled in an instant. I tried to dismiss it, a nervous laugh catching in my throat, but her gaze, practiced and devoid of warmth, held me captive. "What do you mean, Emily? What are you saying?" I stammered, the words alien on my tongue. She averted her eyes, a shield against my desperate plea. "It's nothing personal. I don't feel like it anymore. I'm tired, the routine, work, all of it. It's not about you, it's about me." A tsunami of confusion and raw rejection washed over me. Not about me. We were bound by vows, by years of intertwined lives. How could she unilaterally sever such a vital thread? "Okay," I managed, fighting for composure. "I understand you might be tired or stressed, but this is something we can navigate together. A break, a trip, something different. We just need to talk." Her dismissive shake of the head crushed any lingering hope. "Michael, a trip won't fix this. I genuinely don't want this anymore. I think you need to respect how I feel." Respect how she felt? What of my own shattered heart? The woman who had shared my every breath was effectively erasing me from a fundamental part of our existence. Swallowing the bitter taste of hurt, I pleaded, "Emily, please, help me understand. Did I do something wrong? Is there something you need that I've stopped providing? I desperately want us to mend this." A sigh of impatience escaped her lips. "Michael, I've already told you. It's not about you. People change. I don't see why this has to be such a monumental issue." Not a monumental issue. The calm I desperately clung to fractured. "Emily, we are married. This is the very essence of our connection. How can you expect me to simply accept this without even attempting to grasp the true reason?" Her voice hardened, sharp as glass. "I already gave you the reason. I just don't feel like it anymore. It's that simple. If you can't accept that, then that's your problem." I pushed away from the table, my heart hammering against my ribs, my stomach churning. I fought the urge to unleash a torrent of fury, but her callous dismissal, as if my feelings were utterly inconsequential, made me feel utterly invisible. Retreating to the bedroom, I grappled for clarity. Marriage, I had always believed, was a tapestry woven with dialogue and understanding. I wouldn't surrender. Perhaps she was grappling with something inexpressible, something that drove this profound distance. For days, I poured every ounce of my being into rekindling our connection. Special dinners, unexpected bouquets, even a weekend spa getaway she'd always dreamed of. Each gesture met with a forced smile, then a swift return to the glowing screen of her phone, or solitary hours lost in her shows. A chilling pattern emerged. The once affectionate, attentive Emily was now a phantom, her presence a mere echo. Her phone consumed her. Conversations with me became clipped, evasive, always veering away. It was as if I, her husband, had become less significant than any fleeting distraction. One night, the raw ache of neglect forced the words from my lips again. "Emily, I know you said it's not about me, but something fundamental has shifted between us. I just need to understand." Her eyes rolled, a dismissive gesture that stung. "Michael, please, we've exhausted this. I just need space." Space. From me? My voice cracked with the weight of my frustration. "It's not like that," she uttered, a weary tone in her voice. I just, I just want things to feel lighter. Why do you insist on bringing this up? Because I care about you, Emily. I care about us. I can't simply ignore you pulling away, I pleaded, fighting to keep my voice from shattering. She offered no response, simply picked up her phone, signaling the abrupt end of our fragile exchange. That night, staring into the oppressive darkness, a vast emptiness consumed me. What more could I do? My plea was not unreasonable. I yearned for the partnership, the companionship we once shared. But to her it seemed none of it mattered anymore. As days bled into weeks, the chilling realization solidified. Emily had checked out. Every memory, every overlooked moment resurfaced with haunting clarity. For years I had been her financial anchor, a steadfast provider so she could focus on her personal growth that in hindsight never materialized. A gnawing suspicion began to fester. Was she with me for who I was, or simply for what I provided? The thought was a venomous bite, but I couldn't deny its truth. I loved her, yet the possibility of being used, of being merely a resource, was a cold, hard stone in my gut. Still, I persisted, clinging to the hope that time would soften her, that she would rediscover what we had. But with each passing day, she receded further into indifference. It was then that a new resolve hardened within me. If she no longer saw me as a partner, I could no longer be just a provider. If she refused to share her heart, I would no longer shoulder the burden of our unraveling marriage alone. The disastrous conversation had planted a seed. Perhaps the enemy was monotony. I embarked on a desperate quest to reignite the dwindling embers of our passion. I researched, I planned, I dared to venture into territory I'd always shied away from. Inside the discreet couples store, my palms sweated, but the friendly clerk helped me navigate a world of spark-inducing novelties. Toys, provocative lingerie, massage oils, even a game promising to unlock hidden intimacy. I returned home, treasures hidden, a clandestine mission underway. Candles flickered, soft music filled the air, rose petals adorned the bedroom, a tableau of romantic expectation. When Emily arrived, I presented a home-cooked dinner, a simple dish infused with desperate hope. "Wow, Michael, what's going on? Trying to win me over with dinner?" she joked, a smile that never quite reached her eyes. "No," I replied, a tremor in my voice. "Just a special night. For us." She accepted, but her phone remained a constant distraction, her attention fragmented. Still, I pressed on. "I have a surprise for you," I announced, taking her hand, leading her upstairs. "A surprise?" Her eyebrow arched, skepticism etched across her face. But as she entered the bedroom, surveying my carefully crafted scene, a flicker of interest sparked in her eyes. It was fleeting. "This is nice, Michael, but I've already told you I'm not in the mood for this." "Emily, it doesn't have to be rushed. I just want us to reconnect. How about a massage? No pressure, just relaxation." She sighed, a sound of resignation, but agreed. I began to knead her shoulders, and for a moment she seemed to yield. Then her gaze flickered to her watch, her fingers reaching for her phone. Impatience. "Is everything okay?" I asked, my voice strained. "Yeah, it's just, I have to wake up early tomorrow. I don't think I can fully relax knowing that." Another excuse, another wall. That night she turned her back to me, asleep in moments, leaving me to stare at the ceiling, lost in the labyrinth of my own despair. In the days that followed, I shifted tactics. I focused on myself, on rebuilding my own shattered confidence. New clothes, a sharper appearance, more frequent gym visits. It wasn't solely for her, but for me. She noticed, "You're taking better care of yourself these days. Any special reason?" "Yes," I said, a faint hope rekindling. "I want to feel good about myself, and I also want you to see me as the man you married." Her shrug was a dismissive blow. "You already look fine the way you are. You don't need all of this." Undeterred, I suggested a shared activity, a dance class, a bold movie to set a mood. Each suggestion met with the same weary excuses. Too tired, not in the right headspace. One night I brought out the intimacy game, simple questions and challenges designed to draw us closer. I tried to make it fun, but her reaction was a crushing blow. "Michael, please, this is so silly. We don't need this." "It's not about needing it, Emily. It's about trying to enjoy ourselves, to reconnect." She sighed, then rose. "Look, I know you're trying, but I've already told you I'm not in that place. You're pushing for something that's just not going to happen." Her words were a physical ache. Something that's not going to happen? "Is that it, Emily? You've already decided there's no room for intimacy in our marriage anymore." "Michael, I don't know what else to say. I think you're expecting something from me that I just can't give right now." "But why, Emily? Why can't you? If something's bothering you, pushing you away, please just tell me." She shook her head, leaving the room, leaving me amidst the discarded toys and games, consumed by humiliation and frustration. Why was I being treated this way? I wasn't asking for the moon, just for our marriage to breathe again, to be happy. In that moment, a chilling suspicion dawned. Perhaps the problem wasn't with me at all. Perhaps the chasm between us was far deeper than I had dared to imagine. After that night, left alone with my pathetic failed attempts, something within me irrevocably shifted. I couldn't bear the reflection in the mirror, a monument to humiliation and futility. Every desperate effort to salvage our marriage seemed only to propel her further away, leaving me feeling like the sole keeper of a dying flame. In the days that followed, I retreated, observing her with a detached, clinical eye. The surprises ceased, the pleas for connection silenced. I simply existed, quietly, reflecting on the grim reality. What I had once believed was love now felt like a cruel charade. I was living with a stranger who saw not me, but a function, a means to an end. A pattern, long ignored, now screamed for attention. Whenever Emily needed something, money, help, an expensive gift, she transformed, sweet and attentive. But the moment her desires were met, the mask slipped, and I became nothing more than a functional piece in her carefully constructed life. Her pronouncements, "You're such a generous man, Michael. I don't know what I'd do without you." Once sources of pride, now tasted of bitter manipulation. It wasn't gratitude, it was a leash. She needed me, yes, but did she love me, or was I merely the architect of her comfortable existence? The swirling thoughts coalesced into a stark resolution. This charade must end. I could no longer humiliate myself, grasping at a connection that should be inherent, organic. More profoundly, I could no longer fund a relationship where I was reduced to an ATM. The truth, however painful, demanded to be faced. That evening, I waited for her return, then summoned her to the living room. Seeing my grim expression, she bristled. "What do you want to talk about, Michael? We've gone over this countless times." Her arms crossed, a defiant posture. "Exactly, Emily. We've talked, and it has led us nowhere. But tonight we speak with candor. No more evasions." She rolled her eyes, collapsing onto the opposite couch, bracing for an unwelcome truth. I've spent weeks, Emily, exhausting every avenue to salvage what we had, to comprehend this chasm between us. And you know what I've realized? I've been fighting alone. You simply don't care anymore. That's not true, Michael. I do care, just not in the way you want. Oh, really? Then enlighten me, Emily. Explain how you care, because from where I stand, it appears your presence here is purely for convenience. Because I bear the financial burden, maintain this house, and provide the lifestyle you so clearly enjoy. But as a partner, you have utterly shut me out. Her eyes widened, my unyielding tone clearly catching her off guard. You're exaggerating, Michael. Just because I don't want to be intimate doesn't mean I don't care about you. This is far more complicated than you think. Is it? Then simplify it for me. Help me comprehend. Because all you've done is withdraw, treating me like a stranger in your life. A heavy silence descended as she avoided my gaze. I've told you, Michael, I've changed. Things aren't the same. Yes, you've changed, and so have I. And today I've realized I'm exhausted, Emily. Exhausted from being treated as if my sole purpose is to support you. So from this moment forward, things will change. Her brow furrowed, confusion clouding her face. What do you mean, change? It's quite simple. I will no longer financially support you. No more funding your whims, your shopping sprees, your expenses. If you refuse to be my wife in every sense of the word, then I refuse to be the provider you expect. From now on, it's every person for themselves. You're joking, right? She let out a nervous, brittle laugh. You know I can't afford to cover everything on my own. No, Emily, I'm not joking. And you know perfectly well you are capable. You always have been. But as long as I carried the entire weight, it was easier to let me. This is utterly ridiculous, Michael. You're punishing me because I don't want to have sex with you. What kind of man does that? No, Emily, this isn't punishment. This is a reaction. I have spent years pouring my soul into this marriage, believing we had something extraordinary. But now I see that to you I am merely a source of money and comfort, and I will no longer accept that. She stared, a toxic cocktail of anger and disbelief simmering in her eyes. And what do you expect me to do? Quit everything and get some random job? Humiliate myself? I expect you to take responsibility for your own life, Emily. That's all. I have shouldered mine for years. Now it's your turn. If you no longer see me as a partner, then I will no longer sacrifice myself for someone who doesn't value me. She sprang to her feet, hands thrown up in a gesture of utter exasperation. You are unbelievable, Michael. After everything we've been through, you treat me like this? Like I'm disposable? No, Emily. I am simply treating you the same way you have treated me for months now. The choice is yours. Either truly engage in this marriage and act as my partner, or we go our separate ways. But one way or another, I am done sacrificing myself for someone who holds me in such contempt. She offered no reply, only stormed out, the bedroom door slamming behind her, a final, thunderous punctuation. I remained there, a strange blend of relief and sorrow washing over me. Relief for finally speaking my truth, for shedding the suffocating silence. Sorrow because a profound knowing settled in my bones. That conversation marked the precipice of our marriage. Yet for the first time in what felt like an eternity, I felt a lightness, a profound sense of liberation, free from guilt, free from the crushing need to please someone who no longer cared. In that moment, I made a solemn vow. It was time to put myself first, After that raw, unvarnished confrontation, the very air between Emily and me solidified into a glacial indifference. I harbored a fleeting, desperate hope that my words might ignite a dormant desire in her, a fight for what we once shared. Instead, the chasm widened. In the ensuing days, she barely acknowledged my existence, a ghost haunting the edges of her attention, constantly tethered to her phone or cloistered in the bedroom. I, in turn, began to utterly disconnect. The relentless trying ceased, the yearning for connection withered. For the first time in years, the crushing pain was gone, replaced by a quiet, irrefutable confirmation. Our marriage had died long before that brutal conversation. I stopped caring about her reactions, her day, ceased every futile attempt to please her. It wasn't resentment, it was a natural, inevitable detachment. I had poured every drop of my energy into saving something that unequivocally only mattered to me. The household expenses, once solely my burden, were now meticulously divided. Predictably, Emily bristled, accusing me of insensitivity, of unfairness. But when my resolve remained unyielding, her protest dissolved into convenient excuses for absence. She spoke of her parents' house, but I saw the calculated planning of her departure. A month after that pivotal conversation, Emily summoned me to the living room, her voice devoid of emotion as she announced, "I think it's better if we separate." I simply nodded. There was nothing left to discuss. "Okay," I replied, a calm I didn't entirely feel settling over me. "When do you plan on leaving?" My composure seemed to surprise her. Perhaps she expected pleas, desperate attempts to dissuade her. But I had already made peace with the inevitable. "I'll go to my parents' house this weekend. I've already packed some things." "All right," I responded. "If you need help with the bags, let me know." When Saturday dawned, I watched her walk out the door, suitcases in hand. There were no grand farewells, no lingering goodbyes. I simply wished her luck, and she vanished without a backward glance. As her car rounded the corner, an enormous weight lifted from my shoulders, a tangible release. For the first time in years, the house was silent. Not a heavy, oppressive silence, but one of profound, almost sacred peace. Slowly, tenderly, I began to reclaim my life. Hobbies long abandoned resurfaced. Cooking, playing guitar, reading the dust-laden books on my shelves. The solitude, once a specter, became a cherished companion. No more endless arguments, no more unfulfillable demands, no more soul-crushing frustrations. Just me, my space, and my hard-won peace. Through mutual acquaintances, I heard fragments of Emily's new life. She had moved back with her parents, eventually found a job, a path to self-sufficiency. Some whispered of regret, of her missing the stability we had shared, but she never reached out, and I felt no compulsion to delve deeper. Our chapter had closed, and I bore no resentment. In that quiet solitude, I learned a profound truth. Loneliness is not the antithesis of happiness. It can be a fertile ground for rebirth, for finding meaning in the most ordinary of things. Today, my life is imbued with a quiet contentment. I have my home, my freedom, and above all, my dignity. My marriage to Emily was a lesson, undeniably painful, yet undeniably necessary. And now I can say with unwavering conviction, sometimes the greatest act of self-love is the courage to let go of what no longer serves your soul. Ladies and gentlemen, since you've listened to the end of this story, please subscribe to the channel and write in the comments which state you're watching from. Let's see what percentage of elite viewers make it to the end. And please, kindly turn your attention to the screen after this message. There you'll find a full playlist of thrilling stories, a subscribe button for the channel, and our most captivating story. Click, enjoy, and thank you.